All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight for tonight's post-game press conference with New Mexico State men's basketball. First, we'll bring on New Mexico State head coach Chris Jans, and following that, we'll bring on senior forward Donnie Tillman. Coach Jans has joined us already. Coach, just kind of talk about the game, start to finish tonight, if you could. Amazing start by Donnie Tillman especially, and then having to hold off kind of a late charge there and at the end, and the defense really came through at the end.
Yeah. Overall, I thought we got out of the gates great. I mean, it was 10-2 in a blink of an eye. Certainly, Donnie led the charge. When we made that first three, he hasn't been shooting a great percentage, but he's a better shooter than that. And like most players I've coached, when you see that ball go in the net, it boosts your confidence. And then, we got an early dunk, and everybody was feeling it. And he had a heck of a first half. Really, really played at a high level. But I thought earlier offense was really good. Well, both ends were good, but especially offensively on the half court and running more, trying to get out and run and push the basketball. And then in the half court, share it and work on the things we've been working on. So second half, we slowed down. A lot of that had to do with them. They started pressing us, changing defenses, trapping. We didn't handle it great. It was very similar to last night where we had a decent-sized lead in the second half. I didn't help my team by some lineups I had in there, which I was fine with. Again, certainly we're trying to win these games, and you're always doing that, but you also have the big picture in the back of your mind. And that was how I was going into the weekend. We did everything, like we always do to win and prepare, but Vegas was always looming in terms of what we were working on and playing minutes, etc. So that all worked out pretty well for us.
Coach, you guys now three's company there. You lock up the 3 seed in the conference tournament. You get your first 3-game win streak of the season here. Obviously, now the question turns to WAC Vegas here. How confident are you in this team that they can continue to string some victories together?
Well, I'm more confident now than I have been in a long, long time. We're playing better. To be frank with you, I wish we had another 7 to 10 days, but we don't. Some years I can't wait to get there because of how we're playing and etc. But because of our situation, it's, I'd love to have another week or so, but, they know we don't, I know we don't, and that's not reality. So, we've been playing better, practicing better. You always want to be peaking at the right time, and hopefully we will this weekend. I think our kids are more confident with each other and how we're playing, how we need to play. We'll see. We're going to throw the ball up and tip it up 8 o'clock on Thursday, and away we go. And I think the league tournament's wide open. I think it's pretty evident that this particular year, anybody can beat anybody in any game. And, it's up for grabs. So, I think we need a couple good days, of prep and getting our bodies and our minds right. And we should be, heading down there with a lot of confidence and feeling good about how we're playing right now.
I guess
you talk about that confidence you guys have. I mean, you got a bunch of veterans who have been in these shoes before in this situation where they're red hot going into WAC Vegas and they know how to win down there. I mean, now that you're playing better, how much more comfort is there knowing that you have these veterans that have been in this situation and win down there?
They've been helping a lot recently. Guys have stepped up to the plate besides coaches and tried to get everybody to understand how important this last week of practice was, these last couple of games, to just work on ourselves, certainly trying to win the game. But as important for us, we went in the last weekend knowing that we couldn't win a conference championship. So you got to move past that and think about the ultimate goal. And that's what our staff did. I've never talked about a conference tournament so much a week prior to it, but we talked about it daily because it is what it is. And, we also talked prior to this game about it was a must win. I wanted them to feel pressure. I wanted them to feel like we had to win the game, to just get a feel of that, win or go home type of situation we're going to be playing in. We're all going to be playing in. here shortly. So, you mentioned the older guys. We got some guys that have won it. We've got guys that have cut down nets down there. We've got coaches that have done it. I would think that would be an advantage for us. But, at the end of the day, you're going to tip the ball and you're going to play 40 minutes of basketball, and whoever plays best is going to win in advance.
Coach, first round matchup against ETRGV. Just how valuable is it to have some game film on them since you were able to play them last week as opposed to going into a blind?
We talked about that when we were playing him. One of the reasons was at least we had played everybody now that was going to be in the WAC tournament. And, it works both ways. Obviously, they got to see us as well. But I'd rather have that film. I'd rather have the, sizing each other up to more understand, who they are and how they feel. And it's different than video. Video is great and we wear video out like everybody else, but, playing someone in person and just, it's just different. And now, we have a better understanding of who some of those players are and who they are and their quickness, their size, their strength, all that. And certainly they do too. So, we're very familiar with each other. We played, I guess when we played Thursday, it had been about 9-10 days since we played each other. And, we'll see how we do.
Coach, defensively, these last few games, you guys have really been amping up the effort. It's looked like Aggie defensive of teams you're used to coaching here. But how much have you been able to feel out these last few weeks that this game experience, the more games that you guys have been playing, the more comfortable you guys have been getting?
There's no question about it. Can't replicate game experience for any team. We've played 17 games now. That's all we're going to play heading into the postseason. Certainly would love to have played a bunch more, but that's not in the cards and it's not going to change. But we've gotten better. We've gotten better. I think anyone that's followed us game by game can see it. We're growing. Certain individuals are making strides and that's going to help us. I'm not talking about, just the new guys either. Even our veterans, have made strides recently and got their games a little tighter and their minds in the right place to be able to help themselves and to help, some other guys, like we talked about earlier with trying to get the new guys to understand how these games feel and what the environment's like and what's on the line and all that good stuff. So, I don't shy away from the pressure and trying to put it on them. And they had the right mindset. I felt really good going in tonight. Like we had a great shoot around, a really good 24 hours since the last game. It felt good. It felt different than maybe some of the other weekends in terms of the focus. And I felt really good that we at least play well early and we did, which is a good feeling. Certainly we didn't play great for 40 minutes, but I loved how we started the game. And hopefully that's something we can really show them and talk about and try to do it more for 40 minutes going forward.
Chris, you talked about that pressure that you wanted to put on the guys tonight, that it was a must win. How big of it was for you guys to sweep? I mean, it's already kind of been asked, but to sweep with what has happened every weekend up to this point with the splits and so forth, where that you can't lose next week or else your season's basically over.
I think some people would probably put a lot of importance on that. And I think some players probably needed that for some internal confidence, not to question whether we can win consecutive games like that. I can't say I necessarily think that I needed it. I wanted to, but at the same time, Thursday, and if we're fortunate enough to win Friday, what we did this weekend, it's not going to be talked about. It's going to be irrelevant. It's going to be about the task at hand. It's going to be about the game in hand. It's going to be about the situation we're in. And we're going to try to, play our best. But certainly a lot of people will talk about how beneficial this will be for us with winning 3 games in a row. And don't get me wrong, I'd rather, coming in with wins under our belt, but I don't think it's necessarily, a situation where we couldn't win it if we didn't, and that we're going to, win it because we did. But I just been doing this long enough to know that when that ball's tipped, that's not in the back of your minds. It'll be nice for the next few days of preparing. I think the kids will feel good. And continue with that laser focus, that theme we've been trying to use with these guys heading down the stretch. And, someone mentioned it earlier, and we're going to have to rely on, guys that have been there, done that to make sure that the other kids that are new to these situations understand that. Because we didn't, we didn't get to play in any sort of non-league tournaments, non-conference tournaments, or play for a championship, like we normally do in most seasons around November or Christmas, and get to play in one of those, whether it's consecutive days. And we didn't get to do that. So we don't have that experience this year. So we're going to have to rely on, the coaches that have been around, and certainly the players that have been around to help.
Anything else for Coach here tonight, guys? Okay, perfect. Thank you, Coach Jans. We appreciate it.